In this episode, I tell you how to turn that side hustle into your full-time hustle. This is the Ask the BCE Show, episode number 17. I'm your host, Kurt Belding, and that is the Blue Collar Entrepreneur Show. I'm not going to go into what I typically say about blue-collar entrepreneurs because that word's too long. So this show, I got a couple topics I want to talk about. I stumble on it every time, entrepreneur show. I got a couple topics I want to talk about. One being trolls. I know, right? No, I'm not talking about the trolls that are under the bridge and they're short and ugly looking.
Talking about Princess Poppy?
Yeah.
Okay.
Princess Poppy, troll, yeah. Wasn't there's a troll movie that came out, right? Is that, you watch the Trolls? Oh, you have a daughter, huh?
There's a few movies, there's a holiday special, it's all kinds of stuff. Check it out.
So trolls, as it applies to today's world with social media, YouTube, people that are creating content that are trying to make a name for themselves, me being one of them. Just recently, I've started to experience the trolls a little bit on some of my content. So I want to talk about that a little bit. Yeah, so I have a YouTube channel that I house all these videos on. And so it's starting to get a little more traction on YouTube, and I'm starting to experience some of the negative comments of these trolls that troll the internet looking for things to talk negatively about. And, someone asked me, that was close to me, was like, hey, does this make you mad? Does this piss you off that someone said you're an idiot or whatever they negatively commented to? And I was like, at first, it did kind of make me a little bit mad. I was like, man, what? Like, I'm putting out content just to try to help people, and someone wants to comment negatively, but then immediately I'm like, man, the reality of it is that I kind of feel bad for them. It must kind of really suck to have the time or the life to just search around the internet, whether it be Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, find the video and just start negatively commenting on people's crap, to be honest with you. So no, actually I kind of feel bad for them. Like, their life has to kind of suck to want to live in that negative world. I always say that I live in my positive little bubble, and I try to stay there. I don't watch the news. I don't let negativity come in. Like, your perception is literally your reality. So I would never, if there's a video I'm watching and I don't like it, I just click out of it and don't watch it anymore. I would never sit there and write a negative comment to either start a rebuttal or start an argument or to feel better about myself because my life sucks and I want to tear down someone else's building to try to make my building higher, right? So I would never do that, but I'm really curious about, have you guys ever, because now we're producing a lot more content, Alex, you're doing a lot of stuff with Body Rival and Ben, building a personal brand. Isla, you got your photography stuff started. Reese, what do you do? I'm just kidding.
Nothing on social media.
Have you guys experienced any of the trolls here at all?
I actually have, for sure. As soon as running the stores for you and stuff, it was all about, I made a video, some guy said something about a big guy with a lisp, something about supplements. I guess I had a little bit of emphasis on my S. So yeah, my coworkers too, things about weight and just whatever. People are just out there trying to spread that negativity because they're hurting, Makes people feel good if they can get that, especially if they can get a reaction out of you.
Yeah, yeah. I agree 100%. I think it's just people that are just negative, that their life is negative. So if you guys are out there and you're starting to produce content, don't let these trolls stop you from producing content. Don't let them affect you negatively. Just brush it off, because the reality of it is their life probably sucks, and it'll suck so much they need to spend their time trying to trash someone else out. So continue to produce content. I think content's very valuable. Don't let that stop you. So that's kind of my spiel on trolls right now. So if you're trolling my YouTube videos right now, go ahead and leave the negative comment, because I don't care. Other topic I want to talk about, one of the big reasons why I'm doing this show is, one, to give back for anybody that's blue collar like me, that are starting a business, want to start a business in a small business, that need a little bit of motivation or content or education, because I've been through a lot. But the other part about it is I want to document my journey. So I want to talk a little bit about what we're about to go through with some of my companies. I think we're going to take a step back. Right now we're in a headquarters with offices and a warehouse, and things are kind of fancy and nice, and And that's okay, but I don't think you have to be fancy to be successful. I don't think it's absolutely necessary to spend extra money to look a certain way or have some certain perspectives or perceptions. We're about to take a step back and go back to our headquarters and back in one of my businesses again, where we're going to save a little bit of money, where I could take that money and either apply it to someone's salary, not have to cut, and not have to be fancy. You guys don't have to be fancy. You don't have to drive the Mercedes Benz. You don't have to be fancy. You don't have to have the nice looking, cool office with a skyscraper view to be successful. So if you have a small business out there and here's what happened with us was we grew really fast and we kind of got ahead of ourselves a little bit, where we took on more liability than what we needed to. I mean, it's not that much liability, and just being transparent to everybody out there watching is our landlord's raising our rent and charging us a lot more money, where it's going to hurt a little bit. So do I continue to be fancy and say, no, I want to keep and hang on to this perception of us looking a certain way as a company? Or am I smart about it? Say, look, there's no need to spend this extra money. Let's go back and no need to be fancy and save this money to better the company or to bring on one more employee or keep that employee. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's more valuable. So anyway, yeah, if you have a small business out there, you're about to start a small business, like, who cares about what people think or view you as? Success, the numbers are most important. Like, spend less money than what you bring in. Step number one, right? So no need to be fancy. Right now we're going back to headquartering somewhere that's not fancy, and I'm okay with it. I'm okay taking that step back for 2 or 3 years from now to be that much further ahead of the game and set us up for success. So that's what we're kind of doing right now with our company, and I'm good with it. We just had a talk here as a company, and all my employees are good with it. I think we're gonna have a little bit of fun back, all stuck in like one room, sardined together. So I think it'll be fine, right? So. All right, that's my spiel on being fancy, no need for it, and don't worry about the trolls. At this point, let's bring on some questions.
All right, first one is from Joe Hennigan.
Joe. Mm-hmm.
His last name. How do you manage employees successfully when your views don't match?
How do you manage employees successfully when your views don't match? Yeah, man, Joe, this happens a lot, dude, and we deal with it almost every day. You know, the first step is, you as a leader, it's your job to portray your vision. It's your job to communicate your vision with your employees to get them on the same page. Like, if we're rowing a boat and I know where we're going, but my employee doesn't know and he thinks we're going to go a different direction, that boat might go in circles and nothing really happens, right? So do your best that you can do on portraying the vision so your employee understands the vision and why. Always let them know why. Be very transparent, honest with your employees to let you know why we have this vision, why we're taking these steps. And they still don't have the same vision as you, cut bait. You may just have to say, well, hey, I'm not the right leader for you. I'm not the right employer for you. Give them a good reference. Let them go. Let them go off and follow their own vision, and that's 100% fine. So just recap of the question, Joe, is like, do the best you can on portraying your vision. If you can't get through, you can't get through. Cut bait and move on and find the employee that you can get through that will buy into the vision of you as an entrepreneur or business owner. So.
All right, question number 2. I don't know who this one is from, but what is one mistake you witness leaders making more than others?
What is one mistake I witness leaders making more than others? I think the biggest mistake that I see leaders witnessing is, we talked about the fancy thing, like worrying about what other people think and probably spending more money on what you need to look a certain way. I think that's a big mistake that leaders make. I think the other big mistake that leaders make is worrying about the bottom line more than they worry about their employees, which is the heart of your company. So don't be greedy. Give up a little bit of that money to build your company and reinvest that money, that time, that energy into what really made your company successful in the first place, which is probably your staff, probably your guys that have bought into your vision. So yeah, the biggest mistake I see leaders make is trying to be too fancy, being a little bit greedy, and not putting their employees first, really. And I see that in big companies too. You see big companies like with shareholders that like they have to hit certain numbers for their stock, and the first thing they do is start laying people off, because that's the easiest way to cut their liabilities. They start laying people off and start wrecking people's lives just so they can hit the right numbers just for their shareholders, so their shareholders happy, which I think maybe that CEO or that high-paid employer could cut his salary and put that money back into making his employees happy, right? And I've done that myself. Like, I talk about this all the time, right, guys? Like, I've literally paid myself only a handful of times this year, not very much money at all, for one fact and one reason is I'm cut my own salary to make sure my guys are well paid and they can live to build my company. If I started cutting employees and to make sure that I made the amount of money I want to make, well, first of all, that's a short-term solution of like, okay, I can keep my fancy car, my fancy house, or my fancy lifestyle, but my company's probably not going to grow in 5 years from now. I may not have a company at all. So I kind of went on a tangent. I don't even remember what the question was, but I think it was mistakes that leaders make, right? So, yeah. All right, any more?
This one's from Benjamin, blue collar himself.
The blue collar.
Right, what methods do you use to refocus your perception when the ups and downs tend to sway your views to negative ones?
Say it one more time.
What methods do you use to refocus your perception when the ups and downs tend to sway your views to negative ones?
What methods do I use to refocus my perception when the ups and downs may sway my perception to a negative perception, right? Man, just understanding what the truth is. You know, because sometimes like ebb and flows of whatever happens in the day can spike either like you're almost bipolar, especially as a business owner. Like one day sales can be great and you're happy as hell, and the next day sales suck and you think you're gonna go out of business, and you're bipolar. Like your emotional roller coaster, emotional swings are through the roof, and you can be super positive and super negative, and you're right, you can sometimes some shit happens, you can fall on that negative side. Is I think the first step of doing that is understanding what's true and what's not. You know, is what your mind's telling you or worrying about actually the truth, or are you blowing it out of proportion a little bit, which causes a complete negative swing in your perception, right? And your perception is your reality, 100%. How you perceive things is what life really is. I know like everyone's heard of the glass half empty versus the glass half full, right? Like I know it's kind of a corny thing, but it's 100% true. It's how you perceive, how you look at things, what these blinders are filtering for you. If you see, we'll take our step of like, hey, let's go back and take a step back and headquarter out of one of our businesses rather than paying for this building to headquarter out of. If you perceive that as like, oh my God, like we got to take a step back in our business and maybe our business isn't doing very good and we got to, oh my God, we're probably going to be out of, like you can go in a super negative view perception, but if you think about positively, yeah, we're going to go back, save some money to take that money and build something bigger, right? Like understand what's true, stop worrying about what may or may not happen in the future because it's the future. Life is happening right now in the present, and you know, focus more on the positive stuff of life. Like, you know, appreciations are really good too. Like, you know, list out 5 or 6 things that you're appreciative for, 5 or 6 things that you are grateful in life. That'll change your perception right away. Get in a workout, hit that dopamine. That'll change perceptions right away. Listen to music, that increases dopamine. That'll change your perceptions right away. So, yeah, understand 100% of how you view the world is the world, so change your perceptions. Cool. Did I answer that question, I think? Cool. Any more questions?
Can you direct inject dopamine, or is that?
I don't know. We may be able, let's start manufacturing dopamine and literally just like dump it on the brain, right?
Yeah. A little bit of sauna in there too.
You know what's funny though, like, it sounds weird, almost like I'm a drug addict on dopamine. But I play games with myself every day because I understand how important dopamine and how like powerful that can be for motivation. You know how I do like my little list on my notebook? That's a dopamine hit, man. I'd make my list and I do something, I cross it off, dopamine hit. I play little games like that, like, all right, I want to accomplish something. So like, I may write something down that might be somewhat easier to accomplish. Like, tell Ben, good job today. Good job. I walk in, hey Ben, good job today. Accomplishment, dopamine hit, right?
You write
so
down extra shit that you did too to just mark it out.
now you're just cheating. Like, let's see, I brushed my teeth this morning, so I'm gonna write that down and then cross it off. No, that doesn't. I mean, you could probably do it, but that's just cheating a little bit. So, I play dopamine games with myself all the time. Like I'll throw on some music when I'm feeling down, or like I do a gratitude list if I'm feeling really negative. That changes things. And then put things in perspective too. Things could be a lot worse. Like what if, I know this sounds kind of extreme, but like I have a family, right? What if my family died today in a car accident? Life would be a lot worse. What if my wife died, my daughter died? Like you could look at that extreme thing, and now your problems that you're worrying about, where you have a negative perception, doesn't seem that bad when you really think life could be a lot worse than what it is right now. You know what I mean? So, I don't know, playing little mental games with yourself, I believe 100%, man. Like, your perception's everything, and you can control your life and your world by just how you view things, and you can manipulate that on yourself. So, yeah. Good stuff.
Isla at Hey asks, how do you feel about side hustles?
How do you feel about side hustles? I love side hustles. I think everyone could and should have a side hustle. It's really how ambition you are. I'm not going to tell people that what they need to do and should to do. If you don't want a side hustle, cool. If you're cool with life and you're happy, be happy. Do what makes you happy. But, but if you want a little extra scratch and you want a little side hustle, like I think everybody here probably has a side hustle. I have side hustles that I do. Reese, you just started the buying vintage clothing and selling them. That's a side hustle. Isla, you do photo shoots on the side. That's a side hustle. Alex, I know like you're doing the firefighting thing or wanting to do that side hustle. Ben, you have side. I think, and especially nowadays, like side hustles are so prevalent. Everyone talks about work really hard and have your side hustle. Hey, it's great. I think where a side hustle becomes negative is where it may affect your life negatively, especially if you have a family or a significant other or something like that, that you're not putting the time and energy in you should be. Then maybe that side hustle is not good for your life. But I love side hustles. And I think, if you could swing it, most people should have a side hustle. Yeah. And sometimes that side hustle can become your full-time hustle if you do it well enough. And so if you're trying to get out of that job that you don't like, you start a side hustle. All you guys like this job, so I don't want to see your faces. Start a side hustle, and that could be your full-time gig, man.
That was my side hustle.
Yeah, photography, photo and video is your side hustle. While where were you working, Reese?
I was in college, bartending.
Bartending.
And going to school for it.
Yeah.
But, making a little bit of money. And then eventually,
became your full-time thing, man. Yeah, for sure. Cool. Anything else? I know there's at least one more question about school, I think.
Aaron Nichols asks, how do you transition a side hustle to a full business?
Hey, Aaron, thanks for that question, man. How would you transition a side hustle into a full business? That's that's great. First of all, I think the first thing you need to analyze is, are you going to like to do that side hustle full-time? Where sometimes you have hobbies that you enjoy, but if you did that full-time, would you still enjoy them? If you relied on that to pay your bills, would it still be fun for you? Because sometimes you can beat that hobby up so much and you're miserable doing it because you're trying to make it your side hustle. Just analyze that first, Aaron. And if this is really what you want to do, if the side hustle is like your passion, it's your oxygen, it's where you live and breathe, you're just stuck because you have to pay bills in a full-time job. It's all numbers, man. Look at what your side hustle's generating right now, your revenue. See if you can scale it. See if you can do things like, there's some things you can't scale. Like my passion, I absolutely love to go hunting. I love hunting. And I have a hunting company, which is my side hustle. I can't scale it. I can't make that business big enough to accomplish what I want to accomplish in life, to pay the bills that I need to pay in life, to have the lifestyle that I want. So I know that's just going to be a side hustle, and it's not scalable. I can only take up so many hunters that I'm guiding in a season. Hunting seasons are very short, so I can't scale it. So Aaron, look and see if you can scale it. Look if you can make it bigger, and look at the numbers. What are you generating now? And if you put all your time and energy into it, can you generate enough money to pay for your lifestyle? I think that's really what it comes down to, is those main steps. Make sure it's something that you think you're going to enjoy if you did it full time, and make sure you can make the money that you need to make by doing it full time. Look at the numbers. Another thing, I went to college to be a therapist, so I got a background in counseling psychology, and I didn't realize that, one, therapists don't make that much money, and two, I don't think that I would really listen to everyone's problems every day of my life. I don't think that hustle is really what I really wanted to do, so entrepreneurship is what I like. I could do that every day. Cool. Hey, Aaron, I hope that answered your question, dude. If not, if you got more questions like that, I see you on Facebook. DM me, we could talk on the side. and give you some more directions on that. So, did you find that college question? Mm-mm.
I just got
Two? Well, anyway, I've been asked this a lot, is success, does going to college equal success? And I know this is a controversial topic, and I don't want to bag college, but in my perception, in my experience, college does not equal money, does not equal success. The only way I think college can is if what you're going to school for, you're almost guaranteed a job out, like a trade school. If you're going to a trade school to be an electrician, a plumber, or whatever trade that is, construction management, whatever it is, and you'll directly use that right when you get out, cool. I think college is great. I think you need to go to college. If you're going to be a doctor, I hope that you go to college, because I don't want you operating on me if you're kind of just winging it on your own. I don't think that's an entrepreneurial job, like you should go to college. Those are the exceptions. But I think if you're going to run a business, be an entrepreneur like I am, you do not need college. And to be honest with you, I don't think college can teach you those things. I think you can only learn those things hands-on. And I think the downside of college is there's no guaranteed job when you get out. Is if you're going to go in debt and going in college, man, second guess it. Think about it, especially how much debt you're going to go into. College, a job, is a business just like anything else. They don't really care. Like, honestly, like you go to college, you don't give them your money for education. And there's no guarantee you get a job. And they don't really care that much if you get a job when you get out of college, as long as you continue paying your student loans. That's the honest thing. With interest. And you guys know, like, if something happened in your life, you become disabled or whatever, and you have to file bankruptcy, you can't file bankruptcy on college debt. You can't. It's a government-backed thing. So, which is kind of crazy, right? And it used to be, this used to be the system. And this is how I was raised too, is go to school, get good grades, to go to college, to get a degree, to get a good job. The reality of it, guys, is college was made for companies to have employees. That's why college is there, right? Especially if you're going to be an entrepreneur, I don't think you need college. I don't know. It's a big tangent of college, and I know I'm probably going to piss some people off right now, me talking about college this way, but in my experience, my perceptions, you don't need college to be successful unless you're going to be a doctor or some trade school.
How many years did you spend in college?
And I actually have, I spent a lot of years in college. I got my, what's it called, the bachelor's in counseling psychology, went to get my master's in counseling psychology. I spent a lot of time and a lot of money. I'm still in college debt that I'm still paying on. I mean, you can kind of argue that I'm using psychology right now in my business, and I do, but I'm not directly making money on psychology, you know, so. And you know how many business classes I took in college? 0, not one. You can't learn entrepreneurship in a book. You just can't. Can't teach it. You got to actually do it. You got to own your business. Like, you can take business classes to learn a little bit more about numbers or whatever. I don't know. I've never even took a business class, so I don't know what you learn there. So, but you can't learn entrepreneurship in school. You just can't. So, I don't know. Hope that'll answer that question. Wherever that question's at, I'm sure we'll pop it up on the video. I know it came through. So, anything else coming through on the lives? Any questions or anything like that?
Yeah, we got one from Timmy_Fickle.
Sure, Timmy.
He's curious if you're barefoot right now.
Am I barefoot? No, man. Here. I got boots on. It's snowing outside, so I wore my snow boots. My barefoot. That's good. I guess, yeah, you can't see my feet down here, huh? So I don't even have pants on, Timmy. I'm just kidding. All right, guys, I guess the BCE Show, episode number 17. All you lives, tune in next week. Every Wednesday we do this. Throw me a question. If there's anything you're thinking about, want to know about, you want to know about my life, I'm open, I'm transparent. And if you want to catch these videos after we've gone live, we house them on YouTube. Just search Kurt Belding, subscribe, hit the little bell. That way you can see the videos when they come out. Thanks a lot, guys.